Chapter 6. Crack. The octopus used the minutes of each of its 8 arms had 2 rows of suckers. The suckers stuck to the window. The Minisolve stopped. The octopus stared at Jack and Annie with huge human-like eyes. "I don't think it wants to hurt us," whispered Annie. "It's just curious. I'm going to research it," said Jack. His hand shook as he flipped through the page of the ocean book. He found a picture of an octopus and read aloud. The octopus tend to be a gentle, shy creature. Sometimes, though, curiosity gets the best of it and it comes out of hiding. "Oh, see? I told you, he's shy," said Annie. She yelled to the octopus, "Hi, I'm Annie. He's Jack." "Oh, brother," moaned Jack. He read the powder, but the octopus has huge strength. Each of its arms or tentacles, uh, tentacles has many suckers which act like rubber suction cups. It's nearly impossible to free an object from their grasp. "Oh, great," said Jack. "We will never get rid of this thing." Just then, Jack felt a drop hit his arm. Water. He looked up at the ceiling. "Oh, no," said Annie. A thin crack ran along the ceiling. Smaller cracks branched out from it. Water dripped from the cracks. "We found the crack," said Annie. "The octopus better let go before the whole ceiling breaks," said Jack. "Let go, please, please!" And he shouted at the octopus. The creature blinked as if trying to understand her. "Please, please, please!" she shouted. "Come on, Annie," said Jack. "It doesn't care if you are polite." The octopus blinked at Jack. "Get off of here!" Jack yelled at it. "Now, beat it! Scream! Go!" The octopus shot a cloud of black liquid into the water and disappeared into the dark cloud. Its long tentacles trailed through the water. The Minisolve started to ride slowly again. "You hurt his feeling," and he said. "I don't think so." Something bothered Jack. He looked back at the ocean book. He read to himself. The octopus squirt black ink to escape its enemies. One of its main enemy is the shark. "Oh no," said Jack. "What's wrong?" asked Annie. Jack looked out the window. The water was growing clear again. The shadowy figure moved toward the Minisolve. "What is that?" whispered Annie. The fish was way bigger than dolphin, and it had a very wide head. Jack could feel his heart nearly stop. A hammerhead shark, he pressed it. We are really in trouble now. Chapter 9. Remain calm. The shark swam behind the coral. Where did it go? Said Annie, peering out the window. It doesn't matter, said Jack. We have to get to the top. More water's coming in, said Annie. Yeah, I know. Come on, faster, Jack ordered the mini surf. Even more water's coming in, said Annie. Lots more. Jack looked out. The water wasn't dripping now. It was spurting. A few seconds, said Jack. Suddenly, the mini surf burst out of the water. It bobbed on the wave like a cork. The ocean sparkled all around it. Safe! Shouted Annie. Jack felt the water rising around his bare feet. Oh, not really, he said. Oops, said Annie. The octopus must have made a crack in the bottom too. The water was up to their ankle now. Jack looked out. He saw the reef in the distance. The surf can make it. It doesn't look that far, he said. Go, 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 said Annie. She pressed one of the steering key. Suddenly, the screen went blank. What's happening? Said Jack. Annie pressed the key again. Then Jack pressed the other picture. Nothing happened. It's dead, said Annie. Oh, great. Now the water was up to their knee. I guess we will have to swim, said Jack. He took a deep breath. Right, said Annie. It's a good thing we had a swim lesson this summer, right? Said Jack. And it's a bad thing we just saw a shark. Jack quickly found the picture of the shark in the book. He read aloud. If you ever see a shark in the water, don't splash. Swim calmly away. Jack closed the book. We better do the breaststroke, said Annie. So we want to splash. Yep, and stay close, said Jack. Very close, said Annie. Her eyes were wide, but she seemed very calm. Jack took a deep breath. He tried to be calm too. He calmly took off his glasses. He calmly put them and the book into his bag. He calmly put his bag on his back. And he opened the hatch. Be calm. And he said, he slipped out of the mini surf. I want one page. Help! Jack said calmly. He held his nose. Then he calmly rolled himself into the ocean. Chapter 8. Swim for your life. Jack moved his arm slowly. He moved his leg slowly. He gently pushed the water out of his way as he did the breaststroke. Come, come, he told himself, and he swam beside him. They headed for the reef. All was calm. Then Jack saw something out of the ocean, something out of the corner of his eyes. A dark pin was zigzagging through the water. It was heading toward them. Jack wanted to splash it. He wanted to yell, but he remembered. Calm. I better not tell Annie, he thought. He will stay calmer if she doesn't know. He began to swim faster than faster. Annie went faster too. They both swam as fast and as calmly as they could. Sometimes Annie went even faster than Jack, which made him swim faster and faster. Jack was so scared that he wasn't trying at all. Oh my goodness. Okay, here is mine. Jack was so scared that he wasn't trying at all. He was swimming for his life and for Annie's life too. He didn't look back to see if the shark was still here. He didn't want to know. He just kept his eye on the treehouse in the distance, and he kept swimming. Jack and Annie swam and swam and swam. It took forever for the treehouse to get just a little closer. Jack realized the reef was farther away than he had thought. He kept swimming, but his arm and legs felt heavy, and he was struggling to float, she said. Float? Jack and Annie turned onto their back. They floated the way they had learned in swimming class. We will just rest for a minute, Jack thought. Then we will keep going. Then the more Jack floated, the more tired he felt. Soon he was too tired even to float. He started to sink. Then he felt something. His heart stopped. Something pushed at him in the water. It was slippery and alive. Had the hammer had caught up with them? Jack shut his eyes and waited for the worst. He waited and waited. Finally, he opened his eyes. In front of him was a shiny gray head, a dolphin's head. The dolphin pushed Jack with its nose. It made a happy clicking sound. Hooray! Cried Annie. Jack looked over at her. She was clinging to the pin of other dolphin. Her dolphin was moving through the water. Jack grabbed the pin of his dolphin. Then the two dolphins swam smoothly through the water, pulling Jack and Annie toward the reef. Chapter 9. Ouchie! Ouchie! The sun shone on the ocean. It sparkled like a diamond. Jack felt safe now. His dolphin was taking good care of him. The dolphin slowed down as they neared the reef. Jack rolled his feet. He felt the dumpy coral. He let go of the dolphin's fin and stood up in the water. Annie stood too. Then she threw her arm around her dolphin and gave her a big hug. "Thank you, Suki," she cried, and she kissed the dolphin's nose. Suki tossed her head and clicked at Annie. "Kiss Sam now," Annie said to Jack. "You are not," said Jack. But Sam nodded Jack's head. Then he put his flipper around Jack's neck. Jack couldn't resist. He threw his arm around the dolphin and gave him a quick kiss. Sam nodded and made a clicking sound like raptor. Then he turned to Suki. The two dolphins catered to each other for a moment. They nodded at Jack and Annie and swam grateful away. "Bye, Suki! Bye, Sam!" Annie shouted. "Thanks!" Jack shouted. The dolphin leaped high into the air. Then they dove back into the water with a splash. Jack and Annie laughed. "I wish we could swim like that," said Jack. Jack and Annie watched the dolphin until they disappeared. "I miss them already," Annie said softly. "Me too," said Jack. He sat down in the shallow water. "I'm really tired," he said. Annie sat beside him. "Me too," she said. The warm water wrapped around their shorts and t-shirts. Jack pulled off his pack. He took out his glasses and put them on. They were blurry with water. "Guess what?" said Annie. "What?" said Jack. "I saw the shark when we were swimming," Annie said. "But I didn't tell you. I want you to stay calm." Jack stared at her. "I saw it too. I just swam past her so you'd swim past her. And I swam past her so you would swim past her," said Annie. "I guess we swam double past then," Jack said. She shook his head with wonder. "What now?" said Annie. "We go home," said Jack. "But we haven't solved Morgan's riddle yet," said Annie. Jack sighed. He pulled his notebook out of his pack. It was socked. He pulled out the ocean book. It was socked. "We've failed," he said. "My research is all wet. We will never be master librarian now." Jack put everything away. "Let's go," he said sadly. He stood up. Then he started across the pink reef toward the treehouse. Annie followed him. "Out!" Annie said. What's wrong? Jack looked back. I stepped on something. Annie bent down the rough of her foot. What? Said Jack. A shell? Yeah, this she picked up a large gray stone. Boy, is it rough? Rough and gray as a rock, and plain can be, whispered Jack. They had found the answer. The shell looked like a clam shell, only bigger and with more ridges. How could this ugly shell be the answer to the riddle? Said Annie. What about the part that says, there's great beauty in me? Wait, research, said Jack. He opened the socket ocean book. The pages were stuck together, but he was able to turn a few. He found a picture of the gray shell. He read, the divers search for oyster in deep water, but sometimes oysters wash up on reefs or beaches. Inside some oyster you can find pearls. The pearl's natural beauty makes it a treasure. It must have a pearl inside it, said Jack. Annie peered into the crack between the two halves of the shell. I can't see anything, she said. How does a pearl get in there anyway? Jack read around from the web page. Sometimes a grain of sand will get between the oyster's shell and its skin. It irritates the oyster, so it makes a purely material tools around the grain of sand. In this way, over a few years of pearl is formed. I can't tell if there's a pearl in there or not, said Annie. Maybe we should bang it against the rock, said Jack. Now, that would really irritate the oyster, said Annie. Yeah, maybe we should just leave it alone, said Annie. He gently put the oyster back in the water. But how will we know if oyster is the right answer to the riddle? Said Jack. Morgan said we will know, said Annie. Come on. Jack pushed his glasses into place. Then he and Annie picked up their shoes and socks. He climbed through the window of the treehouse. Morgan's scroll was lying on the floor. It was opened. Look, said Annie. She and Jack stared at the scroll. The reader had padded away. In its place was one shimmering silver word. Oyster. Morgan's magic, whispered Annie. Jack read out a huge sigh. We got it right. he said. And here's the Pennsylvania book, said Annie. Let's go home. She opened the book. She pointed to a picture of the Frog Creek Wood. I wish we could go there, she said. The wind started to blow. The treehouse started to spin. The wind blew harder and harder. Then everything was still, absolutely still. Chapter 10. The True Pearls. Drew Wright shrank into the treehouse. No time at all had passed since they left. They were breaking. Jack rolled up the ancient scroll. He tucked it into the corner. We solved the first riddle, he said. 3 more to go. I don't see another scroll, said Annie. Maybe tomorrow we will get the next riddle. That's okay, said Jack. I think I need to rest and dry out. His t-shirts and shorts were still soaked. His backpack too. Only his shoes and socks were dry. And this needs to dry out too, said Annie. He put the wet ocean book in the patch of sunlight. Then Jack and Annie climbed down the ladder. They walked through the woods, through leafy shadow and goldenlight. They left the woods and started down their street. You know, we should have found the answer to the riddle right away, said Jack. The oyster was on the reef all along. I know, but we wouldn't have had so much fun, said Annie. Fun? Said Jack. You could be being squeezed by an octopus and chased by a shark pond. Don't forget the dolphin, said Annie said simply. Jack smiled. Right, he said. The dolphin made up for everything. They were fun. I guess they were the true pearl in the oyster, said Annie. Yep, said Jack. I wonder what Sam is doing right now. Sam? Annie grinned at him. You are nuts, he said. She said. They climbed the step and went into their house. We're back. Did you get your shoe wet? Their mom called. Not one bit, called Jack. Then he and Annie slipped up the stairs to change their clothes. Yeah, it's finished.